really is. We're continuing on the topic of spin-outs or spin-offs, and we're traveling from the United Kingdom to Poland. What is the scenery like in Poland, and what lessons have they learned? And what should we learn from their lessons learned? Spin-off practices and policies at the University of Warsaw in Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, Mansour Esmaeil Zaei, EIT Food Research Fellow. Welcome.
Hello everyone, good morning. Glad to be here. I'm Mansour Esmaeil Zaei from University of Warsaw, and for the next 25 minutes, I will be talking about spin-off practices and policy at University of Warsaw. But before starting talking about spin-off practices and policies, what is a spin-off company and why we need them? So, a spin-off company is a startup that is established by faculty members, students, staff of universities, or alumni from the university based on some technology or technology-based idea. So in this definition, we need a team of funders from the university and also a core technology that, again, it developed within the university. So why we need the spin-off companies in our ecosystem? As you can see in this graph, if you look to the left part, you can see that here we have the high research resources and the focus is basic research. And when we are developing our technology and we are advancing the TRL, this research resources decreasing. And from right side, when there is commercialization resources and there is industrial environment, when we are reaching to higher TRL level, we have more commercialization resources. And again, it's decreasing when the TRL is lower. And there is a gap that the term is known in the startup ecosystem as the value of this. And it's also valid when it comes to university technology, because the university as an academic environment with research resources and focusing on basic researches, normally just focusing on TRL 1, 2, 3, maximum 4 to validate the proof of concept or hypothesis, while the industrial environment dealing with more closer to the market, the higher TRL like 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there is a gap that's normally, that's why the university invention and know-how ending up in the shelf and also in the statistic and not finding any way to the market, because the industry not willing to go so back to very low TRL and making so much risk and taking some research from university and spending a lot of money and investing a lot of time to bring this to the market. And from another side, the university also don't have the facilities to develop a product and do the commercialization activity within the academic environment. So that's why we need a mechanism and a platform to fill this gap. And we call this platform and mechanism spin-off companies. So spin-off companies trying to fill this gap, develop further the technology, reach to higher level of TRL to convince industrial partner that they can take this technology and this technology is promising and they can make money from this technology. So by doing this, the university spin-off company also contributing to local economy by creating jobs, by boosting the innovation ecosystem. Also, by doing this, the spin-off, university spin-off also doing the de-risking of the technology, because taking technology from the lower TRL and going to further TRL, more developed, it means that we are de-risking the technology. And also it's a good sign for industrial environment that's this technology already is slowly de-risking and it's low risk for them to invest in this technology. From another side, it also involved the inventors in the spin-off company. So it's a good sign for investor that there is a team of the researchers that already developing this technology that also have a commitment to take this technology within the spin-off company that already are doing. And the third, also the university spin-off company and the mission of research and teaching. It's quite hard for university to keep their, let's say, a star and let's say superstar, very productive researcher and professor. Because we, in public university and research institution, there is not such a competitive salaries. So there is a high risk that such a researcher and professor that making a lot of invention, doing a lot of good research, sooner or later will find their way to some industry because they are paying better and providing better option. While if we create a spin-off company that can fulfill their needs and desire by, generating new stream of incomes and also giving them this sense that they can take their technology, work more further on the same technology and have more control over the technology that in most of the cases are thinking it's like their own child. So also we have three directions when it comes to commercialization of academic research. One is licensing, that there is a small chunk of money at the beginning, that is normally it's upfront payment, and then we have some stuff, and then when that's for research and development, and when the product launch in the market, we have some royalty per year. There is a small chunk year by year, and the second option is sales, that we can get a bigger chunk of money right away by selling the IP. And for some university, it makes sense because maybe the university authority is saying that we need this money because immediately we can tomorrow invest this money in some of our research and other projects. While the third option is a spin-off company that has the highest risk. You can see there is a bigger chunk of money that later on, with one of example of University of Warsaw spin-off company, I will determine that how it's working. So you can see at the beginning there is no money, because it's just burning the cash, a lot of money investing and doing some R&D. And if the project will be successful and go to some merger and acquisition or be IPO, then the turnover for university will be much, much larger than any other scenarios. That's why the spin-off company these days getting more and more attention within the academic environment. However, does it make sense that's always going for a spin-off company? The answer is no, because the cases are different. There is some factor that we need to consider before thinking about to establish a spin-off company. So here you can see what is the argument behind this spin-off company. If there is no possibility for license, but many universities ending up with their invention and know-how to be shelved and just going to statistic. Why? Because there is no possible license. There is no one is interested to make this technology at this stage, very early stage license. And also, as many cases, it's a breakthrough technology and there is no existing business to approach. We have such a case in our university that it was only IBM and Google, and there is no one else had the capacity, to take such a project. So it means we can't go further with this breakthrough technology. Also, the technology needs further development. Why? Because we need to obtain the full value and recognition. The full value means that there is more turnover and there is a bigger impact for university and society. Also, there is a huge potential for this potential value for this IP that makes sense to take the risk and establish a spin-off company and take this project further by our own researcher. Also, sometimes there is the legal entities needed for the next step because, for example, if we want to develop further, we need some investor and no one from, let's say, venture capital is interested to invest money directly in a laboratory in university, but they're ready to invest money in, let's say, a spin-off company if there is a potential. Also, there is market condition. If the market is highly fragmented, if there is low entry barriers, if there is a niche market for this product, or there is a huge demand in the market for some changes. So all this makes sense if we want to go through the spin-off mechanism. Also, there is an interesting exit opportunity if successful our project. So why exit? Why we are thinking about exit? Because every spin-off company one day must go through this and then we can consider as a successful case. And to do that, we need to see this interesting exit opportunity. Also, there is some push from inventor. It can be from the, let's say, laboratory or let's say research division or faculty that are saying we are patient, we are not in hurry, and we can wait, and we want to establish a spin-off company to have a larger turnover later. Also, there is personal interest by the inventors that want to take the commercial rule or want to have control over the IP and further IP and development, and also the direction of invention. So in University of Warsaw, by understanding the importance of the university spin-off and also the reform of science and higher education in 2011, so we established our special purpose vehicle, the SPV of the university in 2012. So the main task of this SPV was to helping the creation and development of spin-off companies at the University of Warsaw. If you look at the picture, on the right, you can see this is our R&D camp at the University of Warsaw. You can see all basic science and those research centers that normally creating a bigger chunk of our IP are exist in the same area. And our triangle, commercialization triangle, our SPV, our tech transfer center, and also our incubator all together also located in very close connection with all these facilities. Also, next to our university, we have Military University of Technology, we have Polish Academy of Science, and also we have Warsaw Medical of University. So that's helping our R&D centers to run the research by building interdisciplinary research team, where there is some, let's say, med doctor from medical universities. Also, we have some researcher from Military University of Technology or from Polish Academy of Science. So the UWRC, that is abbreviation of University of Warsaw Research Center, beside helping in creation and development of a spin-off company, also providing our researcher with a grant for proof of concept. It's relatively small. It's around less than 25,000 euro. But it's the first stage if some researcher want to establish a spin-off company. So before that, we are providing them with this grant to prove the concept that it's really working. If it makes sense, then we are taking the idea to a spin-off company. Also, the UWRC also launching new products, solutions, and services without involvement of the spin-off company, and also building a strategic partnership R&D project. So here you can see what is the steps if we want to establish a spin-off company at University of Warsaw. So before that, we need to consider some of the conditions. First, if we want to establish a spin-off company at the University of Warsaw, it needs to be based on some technology, patent software, or confidential know-how of the university. At least one founder must be University of Warsaw faculty member, staff, student, or alumni. Also, the idea must be a repeatable process. We are not looking for the project just taking in a spin-off company, finishing the project, and there is nothing to do. It's a company, and we need, to provide more and more services and product to the market. So we need idea that it has the possibility, to develop further, to add more services or product to portfolio of the company. There is also must be some sense of business plan. At least we want to be sure the company has finance for running at least for 1 year. We want to know that the company know about the risk involved in this early stage technology and also in the startup system. And all these are matters. Also, the team must be entrepreneurs. They must be aware what they are doing and how much risk involved and how much is time consuming, because it's exactly a startup and dealing with a lot of uncertainty. And we want to be sure the team know about all this. Also, the impact on Polish economy must be observed through this. So then the research team informing our technology transfer center, making a meeting and sharing their idea. Then the TTO assigning one technology broker to them, like a key account manager, to work together to develop the company, or let's say the idea documentation, like the deck presentation, like the business plan, the budgeting, and etc. And once everything is ready, it will be presented for UWRC, for the board member. And if they are agrees, they will inform their decision to university headquarters. In some cases also, there is negative answer, but it doesn't mean that the scientists must give up. Sometimes when the scientists receiving the negative decision from the UWRC, they are going through the spin-out. It means without involvement of the university. And I want to clarify that at University of Warsaw, if the university has some shares in a spin-off company, we call a spin-off, and if the university don't have any share, we call a spin-out. So that's a definition at our university, that it's somewhat different with some other universities. And then the UWRC informing the rector of the university about the decision, and then we are signing article of association and the company becoming into existence. So what benefit the spin-off company can receive at University of Warsaw? So the first and most important, they will join a community of 24 spin-off company, many great role models. For your information, so far we don't have any fail in our spin-off company, and 100% all spin-off company is still alive and they are working. They also can have benefit from rent office and lab at university. Unfortunately, still we didn't formalize the structure, and it's need to be reviewed case by case and agree case by case. Then we have also rent special equipment of the university. But again, it's very favorable rates, but need to agree case by case because we didn't formalize yet with many other Western universities. Also, we have favorable licensing and financial terms where we are trying to postpone as much as possible, the payment to university, considering the situation of a spin-off company and also financial condition of funders of this company. Also, they can get some consultancy and coaching. We are connecting them with investor, business angel, and companies, and also they can use the University of Warsaw logo that they can write in their company, powered by University of Warsaw, and using the actual logo of the University of Warsaw that can give them a good credit when it comes to negotiation with venture capital and also applying for some funds. So what the funders of a spin-off company can get in University of Warsaw. So we are expecting the funder of a spin-off company at University of Warsaw, especially the operational team, keeping more than 50% of the shares. We also want them to bring the spin-off company forward, and often by, not by fully paid. In some cases, it also be less paid, means that they can get some shares and also some payment. University of Warsaw also keeping some shares of the company up to 20% through this SPV of the company. Also, we having exclusive right to have a board seat in board member of the company. Also, we have veto power if there is some sensitive decision by the spin-off company. For example, if they want to, join with some military companies that making some arms and so on. And also, we are considering the exit, means that we are ready anytime that the company is ready to exit and bypass our shares. It can be spin-out, it can be merger acquisition or IPO. So the professor also can join the spin-off company, but normally we are recommending the scientific advisor rules, also can be board member of the company, and that don't need any prior permission from the rector of the university. Also, they can spend some time in the spin-off company, still it is not formalized and structurized. It needs to be structurized also for 50% of IP. Any revenue generated from IP will go back to the scientists, those who invented this technology. And also the conflict of interest. We just we are working on some policies still. We don't have the policy for conflict of interest. That is very important to having So far, they're just trying to make some communication in transparent way with the HQ of the university regarding any potential conflict. So now here we have the one of our invention that it's the largest Polish, let's say, tech transfer in the history of Poland.
We opened a new chapter in the development of genetic therapies for the future.
Our invention is based on modification of messenger RNA, a method which is less complex and at the end safer than application of DNA.
We found a way to stabilize the so-called cap structure that defines one end of each RNA sequence.
Our division of physics at the University of Warsaw has been working on messenger RNA and cap structure since early 80s. But when we started, nobody imagined its therapeutical potential.
So when, in the last decade, messenger RNA became a popular subject for therapeutic investigations, we were ahead of our time and
we opened a new chapter in the
Sorry, I think there is something happened and it's start from beginning. So the invention was the largest tech transfer in history of Poland, and it was about, to stabilize mRNA messenger. That's if you look to the bottom of this slide, you can see four well-known pharmaceutical companies: BioNTech, Roche, Sanofi, and Pfizer, that all together involved with development of this technology that developed in University of Warsaw. We made the license in 2011, and then the BioNTech company that time was a spin-off company in Germany started to develop this technology. And as you know, in November 2020, they announced with Pfizer that they reached to COVID-19 vaccine. So this vaccine was based on the technology that developed within the University of Warsaw. But the question is how much we receive from this technology that we developed. We spent over 2 decades, and then we make license, and like 5-6 years, the BioNTech invests time and money. And what is our revenue? I can tell you that really we didn't get anything from this technology, while the BioNTech right now become a corporation and the funder included in the billionaire club. So you can see that by understanding this situation, the same funder of the spin-off the same inventor of the technology decided to establish a spin-off company. So they bring the second generation of the same technology to the spin-off company in 2019, and quickly they secure 4.2 million euro funds, NCBR fund, fast track from the Polish Academy of the National Center for Research and Development in Poland. And short after, the richest person in Poland also agreed to invest 100 to 150 million euro in the next 7 years in this spin-off company. So you imagine that's what was the differences. Previous, we just made a licensing. We get almost nothing. For example, we received last year just royalty less than 100,000 euros, while the company made billions. I mean, this BioNTech, and that's why our scientists decided to make a spin-off company and bring the technology within the spin-off company. Thank you very much. I'm open for any question.
Thank you, Mansour. I think we're going to stay a little bit time, and thank you for your presentation right now. And maybe we can address those questions and ask those questions online in the Deep Tech Atelier platform. And maybe Mansour can also join in on the conversation there, and maybe we can put an alternative discussion online.